So it seems that I'm the only person who didn't know that Lolong Donaire can use the invisible elbow to teleport across distances. Now, you might hear that and think to yourself, wait a minute, but no one in Kengan Omega can teleport. What are you talking about? And it's actually about my latest review for chapter 273. Because when I dropped that review, I had in my title, did Lolong just use Blink? And even at the beginning of the video as well, I sort of talk about the possibility of Lolong using Blink and whether or not people had actually thought about that for a second. Now, I flesh out my position on this later on in the video, but I do know people probably don't listen towards the latter parts of the video, so that's understandable. I don't expect most of my viewers to watch the entire video, but something interesting started to happen, and that is I got multiple comments of people saying that my surprise at what happened at the end of the chapter with Lolong appearing in front of Ramon almost instantaneously was explained by him basically being able to do the invisible elbow, which is of course Lolong's ultimate move, you could say. And at first I was taken aback by this because I've made quite a few mistakes before, especially when it comes to the pronunciation of things and where I lack certain pieces of knowledge. But the thing is, I remember exactly what the invisible elbow does, and I even double checked between the drafts for chapter 273 and the official chapter of 273, and there is no possible way that Lolong actually used the invisible elbow to basically teleport towards the front of Ramon. And so I'll talk about the reasons why, but also why this is a lot more out of a case, especially considering what we know Ramon can do. And so the first time we actually see the invisible elbow used by Lolong in the series is chapter 136, where he uses it against Oma, and it is when Lolong has him pinned towards the ground and is right on top of them. We then see a slash and Oma has been cut towards his chest. Very soon after, we then get of course the title card Invisible Elbow, indicating that of course this move has been used, and an explanation of what it is. And it's quite simple. It's an elbow strike that Lolong launches from someone's blind spot. Quite easy actually, but it is still an elbow strike. And what that means is it's limited to the range of Lolong's elbows, which brings us to why I think the final moments of the chapter cannot just be due to the invisible elbow being used. Because if we go forward to chapter 273 again, page 14 specifically, Lolong and Ramon are standing quite a distance from one another. The gap is so big that even if Lolong were to hold out his hand completely, he could not touch Ramon from that distance. It is basically way too far away for Lolong to just attack, and it's also too far away for Ramon to just attack. The only character we know who could probably attack his opponent from that range is Hiraku, and I bring him up for very good reason. However, we then cut to the 15th page, and in this page, Lolong just appears in front of Ramon and is hitting him with an elbow, and this elbow is not a named attack at all. In the drafts, it's not a named attack, and in the official chapter, it is not a named attack at all. And Ramon, rightfully so, is stunned at what is happening here. He's confused. But then Lolong launches another elbow after we hear a sound called flick, and that is the invisible elbow, because the title card comes up at that point, and it's not invisible elbows, it's invisible elbow. And so the invisible elbow wasn't even used to close the distance at all. He used the invisible elbow when he was in close range, kind of like how we've seen him use the invisible elbow before. And so something else has to be happening here. And whatever it is has to be quite insane, because we know for a fact that Ramon low-diffed Sakigake. And Sakigake, he's an expert at launching very fast attacks from long to mid-range, which, if I'm guessing the distance between Ramon and Lolong, was probably mid-range if not long-range. And Sakigake's strikes are actually quite fast. In fact, unless I remember incorrectly, I think Carlos said Sakigake was probably better at him at striking from those distances. But even if we were to say, hey, maybe they're just relevant in those ranges, that didn't matter when it came to Ramon at all. And that's why this is an insane feat. Because if it is just raw speed, Lolong has to be massively faster than his opponent. But if it is something like Blink, which is a possibility, then it could account for him not being as fast but also appearing that fast. But unfortunately, it is simply impossible for Lolong to basically unlock teleportation via the invisible elbow. Because again, we've never seen it being able to teleport Lolong Donaire before in the series. When he uses it to strike his opponent from their blind spot, that typically means that the elbow is outside of his opponent's awareness. That's why it's called the invisible elbow, not the invisible body. But yeah, that's the video. Little controversy, probably won't do well as a video, honestly. But I did want to talk about this because I got a lot of comments where people thought it was the invisible elbow. And so yeah, that is the video. Don't forget to like and sub, and until next time, take it easy.